Everyone, it's Mrs. Spaulding. Are you ready for story time with Mrs. Spaulding? I do hope so. Well, as you know, it was an okay today. We had, a little sunshine and a little overcast, but overall it was pretty well. Mrs. Spaulding and Malia were gone the whole day. We got up and went to the doctor, went to Whole Foods, went to Trader Joe's, and we went to the post office. Oh my gosh, we went to Dollar Tree. We went everywhere, and we were gone all day from like 9:30 all the way to like 3:30. So I had to rush and get dinner on the table. But anyway, I'm here, and I'm so glad to be here with you. How was your day today? What did you do? Someone said the usual, Mrs. Spaulding. Okay, excuse me. Oh, did any of you do anything different today? Oh, someone said that they went to see their Mima, their pops, and you saw them through the door. That's nice. That's really nice. I know they were happy to see you. Well, I'm already a little late. Sorry. So I'm not going to tarry any longer. I'm going to get right into today's story. Today, we're going to read Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. How many of you have heard that story before? Okay, a few of you. Well, we're going to read that, and it's by William Steig. I think it's Steig, S-T-E-I-G, Steig. I thought it's Steig. So William Steig, and we're going to read that today. So let me get my glasses on, because y'all know I can't see very well without my glasses. So voila, yay, I see you, you see me, we see one another. Okay, so here we go. Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. Sylvester Duncan lived with his mother and father at Acorn Road in Oatesdale. One of his hobbies was collecting pebbles of unusual size, shape, and color. How many of you like to collect something? What do you collect? Someone said they collect stamps, rocks, which are like pebbles, marbles, interesting, crystals, okay, leaves, okay, cars, oh, cards, like Pokemon cards. I didn't know people still did that. Okay, that's all good. On a rainy Saturday during vacation, he found a quite extraordinary one. It was flaming red, shiny, and perfectly round, like a marble. As he was studying this remarkable pebble, he began to shiver, probably from excitement, and the rain felt cold on his back. I wish it would stop raining, he said. To his great surprise, the rain stopped. It didn't stop gradually as rains usually do. It ceased. That means it totally stopped. The drops vanished on the way down. The clouds disappeared. Everything was dry, and the sun was shining as if rain had never existed. Ooh, that's different. There's Sylvester and his family. And see, Sylvester appears to be, I'm thinking he's a donkey. In all his young life, Sylvester had never had a wish granted so quickly. It struck him that magic must be at work, and he guessed that the magic must be in the remarkable-looking red pebble, where indeed it was. To make a test, he put the pebble on the ground and said, I wish it would rain again. nothing happened. But when he said the same thing holding the pebble in his hoof, the sky turned black. There was lightning and a clap of thunder, and the rain came shooting down. Wow, that's exciting, isn't it? If you had a magic pebble, what would you wish for? I think I would wish for peace on earth. Then I would wish for a lot of money. Sorry. So I could help others and help myself. I'd wish that there wouldn't be any more homeless people. And I'd wish that everyone would have someone to love them. That's what I would wish. Moving on. What a lucky day this is, thought Sylvester. From now on, I can have anything I want. My father and mother can have anything they want. My relatives, my friends, and anybody at all can have everything anybody wants. Well, he's generous, isn't he? He wished the sun shone back in the sky, and he wished a wart on his left hind fetlock would disappear, and it did. And he started home, eager to amaze his father and mother with his magic pebble. He could hardly wait to see their faces. Maybe they wouldn't even believe him at first. As he was crossing Strawberry Hill, thinking of some of the many... Oh, let me show you the pictures. See Sylvester? There he is, wishing that the rain would start again, and it did. There he is, just sitting there in amazement with this rock, with this magic pebble. As he was crossing Strawberry Hill, thinking of some of the many, many things he could wish for, he was startled to see a mean, hungry lion looking right at him from behind some tall grass. He was frightened. If he hadn't been so frightened, he would have made the lion disappear, or he could have wished himself safe at home with his father and mother. He could have wished the lion would turn into a butterfly or a daisy or a gnat. He could have wished many things, but he panicked and couldn't think carefully. Uh-oh. What do you think he did? What do you think? Let's keep reading. I wish I were a rock, he said, and he became a rock. The lion came bounding over, sniffing the rock 100 times, walked around and around it, and went away confused, perplexed, puzzled, and bewildered. I saw that little donkey as clear as day. Maybe I'm going crazy, he muttered. See, there's the mean-looking donkey. And there's Sylvester turned into a rock. Oh, no. What are his mom and dad going to think? Do you think they'll be sad if Malia didn't come home and and I didn't know where she was, because it's not like he can call him. He's a rock. Let's see what happens. And there was Sylvester, a rock, on Strawberry Hill, with the magic pebble lying right beside him on the ground, and he was unable to pick it up. Oh, how I wish I were myself again, he thought, but nothing happened. He had to be touching the pebble to make the magic work, but there was nothing he could do about it. His thoughts began to race like mad. He was scared and worried. Being helpless, he felt hopeless. He imagined all the possibilities, and eventually he realized that his only chance of becoming himself again was for someone to find the red pebble and to wish that the rock next to it would be a donkey. Someone would surely find the red pebble. It was so bright and sunny. But what on earth would make them wish that a rock were a donkey? The chance was 1 in 1 billion at best. Sylvester fell asleep. What else could he do? Night came with many stars. Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan paced the floor, frantic and with worry. Sylvester had never come home later than dinner time. Where could he be? They stood up all night wondering what had happened, expecting that Sylvester would surely turn up by morning, but he didn't, of course. Mrs. Duncan cried a lot, and Mr. Duncan did his best to soothe her. Both longed to have their dear son with them. I will never scold Sylvester again as long as I live, said Mrs. Duncan, no matter what he does. I don't blame her. I would be so sad if Malia was missing. I'm sure your mommies and daddies would too. Look at Sylvester all alone. That's so sad. At dawn, they went inquiring of all the neighbors. They talked to all the children, the puppies, the kittens, the colts, the piglets. No one had seen Sylvester since the day before yesterday. They went to the police. The police could not find their child. All the dogs in Oatesdale went searching for him. They sniffed behind every rock and tree and blade of grass, into every nook and gully of the neighborhood and beyond, but found not a scent of him. They sniffed the rock on Strawberry Hill, but it smelled like a rock. It didn't smell like Sylvester. What do you think Sylvester's thinking right now? I know. He's probably thinking about his mommy and daddy and being at home. Poor Sylvester. After a whole month of searching the same places over and over and inquiring of the same animals over and over, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan no longer knew what to do. They concluded that something dreadful must have happened and that they would probably never see their son again, though all the time he was less than a mile away. They tried their best to be happy, to go about their usual ways, but their usual ways included Sylvester, and they were always reminded of him. They were miserable. Life had no meaning for them anymore. I think I would feel the same way. Night followed day, and day followed night over and over again. Sylvester on the hill woke up less and less often. When he was awake, he was only hopeless and unhappy. He felt he would be a rock forever, and he tried to get used to it. He went into an endless sleep. The days grew colder. Fall came with the leaves changing colors. Then the leaves fell and the grass bent to the ground. Then it was winter. The winds blew this way and that. It snowed. Mostly the animals stayed indoors, living on the food they had stored up. One day a wolf sat on the rock that was Sylvester and howled because he was hungry. Then the snows melted. The earth warmed up in the spring sun and and things budded. Leaves were on the trees again. Flowers showed their young faces. One day in May, Mr. Duncan insisted that his wife go with him on a picnic. Let's cheer up, he said. Let us try to live again and be happy, even though Sylvester, our angel, is no longer with us. They went to Strawberry Hill. Do you think they might find the magic pebble? Oh, fingers crossed. Here they are going to Strawberry Hill. Don't they look really sad? Oh my goodness. Mrs. Duncan sat down on the rock. The warmth of his own mother sitting on him woke Sylvester up from his deep winter sleep. How he wanted to shout, "Mother, Father, it's me, Sylvester, I'm right here!" But he couldn't talk. He had no voice. He was stone dumb. Mr. Duncan walked aimlessly about while Mrs. Duncan sat out the picnic food on the rock: alfalfa sandwiches, pickled oats, sassafras salad, Timothy compote. Does that sound good to you? Okay. I'm vegan and I'm not interested in any of that. But anyway, suddenly Mr. Duncan saw the red pebble. "What a fantastic pebble!" he exclaimed. Sylvester would have loved it for his collection. He put the pebble on the rock. They sat down to eat. Sylvester was now as wide awake as a donkey that was a rock could ever possibly be. Mrs. Duncan felt some mysterious excitement. "You know, Father," she said something suddenly, "I have the strangest feeling that our dear Sylvester is still alive and not far away." "I am! I am!" Sylvester wanted to shout, but he couldn't. If only he had realized that the pebble resting on his back was the magic pebble. "Oh, how I wish he were here with us on this lovely May day," said Mrs. Duncan. Mr. Duncan looked sadly at the ground. "Don't you wish it too, Father?" she said. He looked at her as if to say, "How can you ask such a question?" Mr. and Mrs. Duncan looked at each other with great sorrow. "I wish I were myself again. I wish I were my real self again," thought Sylvester. And in that instant, he was! Look! Okay, here's the picture of them eating on the rock. And now, look! It's Sylvester! He was himself! You can imagine the scene that followed: the embraces, the kisses, the questions, the answers, the loving looks, and the fond explanations. When they had eventually calmed down a bit and had gotten home, Mr. Duncan put the magic pebble in an iron safe. Someday they might want to use it, but really for now, what more could they wish for? They all had all that they wanted. And look at them. Isn't that the sweetest story ever? And that's the end. So let me tell you something, guys. Anything that's loved is never lost. So they thought that they had lost their son, Sylvester, and they loved him so, and they never stopped thinking about him and stopped loving him and stopped caring about him. He was just never lost to them because they loved him so. And then in the end, he came back to them. So I know you're quarantined at home, but I want you to remember that you are loved and you're unique and you're wonderful just like you are. And if no one has told you today that they love you, I love you. And I hope that you have a wonderful day, what's left of it, a wonderful evening. Maybe you and your parents or your siblings can go for a little walk. That would be great. I think I need to go for a walk, actually. But I hope to see you guys tomorrow for Storytime with Miss Spaulding. Thanks for coming. Bye bye.